Awesome. Fantastic. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Amy Heiftzman. I'm the Deputy CEO and Chief Learning Officer for UPCEA. It is my pleasure to welcome you to a presenter briefing for an on-site event. These are words that we've not been able to say in what feels like a million years. And it is lovely to be able to say that. It's great to see so many faces. It's wonderful knowing that I'll be able to see all of your faces in person soon. And now that it is March, I don't know who authorized that. It certainly wasn't me. I get to say, I'll get to see you in person next month, which is both exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time. So welcome to today's briefing. We're recording, as you can probably tell, and we have an agenda in the chat linked so you can see some of the resources that we are going to be sharing today and our sort of schedule of comments. I've got several colleagues with me who will be sharing different perspectives of things that will be great resources for you as we move toward the annual conference. And we'll be capturing this recording, these resources in the agenda on a For Presenters page for both the annual and the summit in the next couple of days. So whether you are able to capture things now or for colleagues who aren't able to be on this session, it'll all be captured. So let me go ahead and dive in. We have with us a great number of people, which is fantastic. This is a presenter briefing for concurrent sessions, network spotlight sessions, and research roundtables. By show of hands, how many are doing concurrent sessions? Fantastic, wonderful. And research roundtables? Probably far fewer of you. Just the nature of that beast. Network spotlights. Fantastic, folks. I so appreciate each of you. Sessions are not always exactly what one might hope, but they are so appreciated in all of their formats. Concurrent session protocols are linked here, as are those for the research roundtables and the network spotlights. Each of these kinds of formats are super appreciated, not just to round out the conference program, but by attendees, by offering different kinds of sessions. The concurrent sessions are a typical standard conference presentation, research roundtables, small group conversations around very nuanced and research-driven topics, and the network spotlights were curated by the networks to make sure that your fantastic content is in a room with a great number of people and can get the time of day that it deserves. So I invite you, these were the protocols that were shared earlier this month, in February with each of you, and they'll share with you the slide template to use, when things are due, tips on registering and making sure that you have hotel reservations and all the wonderful things that are involved in an on-site event. Again, words I've not been able to say for quite a while. So I invite you to take a look at your respective protocols and let me know offline or in the chat if you have any questions. Let me pause there. Any broad questions from the group that could be beneficial to individuals? I invite you to reach out to me directly if you've got something specific, but any questions about the protocols for the good of the order, as they say?
I have a quick question for the research roundtables.
Yeah.
Is it a good practice to bring kind of like one-sheets printed handouts, or will people just download that all from the web?
Yes and yes. So research roundtables are invited to have slides or handouts or whatever materials you would like, as long as you are able to use the template for the slide. Or my colleague Jacqueline, who's not able to be on today's call, she can work with you on your exact format of your handouts. If you submit it by the due date, which is March the 15th, and my team will correct me if I've said the wrong date, we will be able to upload it into the app for all conference attendees to download. But specifically at your table conversations, if you want to bring some handouts for folks, that would be so delightful. So yes and yes. Excellent. Other questions? And there are so many of you. I don't have you all on my screen, so if I don't see a hand raised, someone holler. Fantastic. All right. By all means, my name and email address is at the bottom of today's agenda. If you have something in particular, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to move us down the agenda here, and I'm going to invite my colleague Joe to talk about some of the things that we're going to need to know being on site together for the first time in ages. And I'm just going to preface his wonderful remarks by stating the very obvious, which is things are fluid. Please be patient. We will be updating things probably a lot between now and when we see you in sunny Florida. So this is where we stand now. It might be changing, and I will let him share with you the latest and greatest. And if you have broad questions, great, but if you have specific questions, I invite you to funnel them to yours truly. So Joe, take it away. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you all for participating today. It's great to see all of you, and I really look forward to seeing everyone again in person in Orlando. We're all very excited about it. Just to kind of get through all of these new policies that we have to start thinking about now when we're coming back together in person. We just, as conference attendees, we all acknowledge the inherent risk of exposure to COVID-19 exists in any public place where people are present. So with that, UPCEA has set health and safety policies informed by guidance from the CDC, state and local governments. We also will be abiding by any venue-specific guidelines that are set forth by Disney. And because the health and safety of our members matters to us as well as your communities, families, UPCEA will be requiring either a documentation of a negative COVID-19 PCR test or proof of a COVID-19 vaccination for all attendees to get their badge, so including presenters. Now, in addition to that, we will be asking that all attendees do wear masks in any indoor UPCEA event spaces. The exception for this will be when presenters are speaking, as long as you are, if you are on a panel, you are at least 6 feet apart from each other. If you are on a very large panel and you cannot be 6 feet apart from each other, we just ask that you wear masks at that time, but otherwise you would not have to. We just want to let you know that in between each of the sessions, all the microphones will be sanitized by our AV staff. And as Amy noted, we are 6 weeks out, so we will continue to monitor developments with COVID-19 and make any necessary adjustments to make sure that we're providing a safe and comfortable environment for all of you and all the rest of our attendees and staff. So those are updates right now, and we will continue to reach out to all of you with any updates we have on any of this. That being said, Amy, unless you have anything to add, I will toss this over to Jordan DiMaggio, who will be able to discuss some in-session engagement, or Molly, if you will be.
Thanks, Joe. I can take it from here. So with kind of the as we call the new normal, we're encouraging our session presenters to kind of change some of the styles that you may be engaging with attendees in the past. We used to pass around a microphone in session rooms before, and we're trying to kind of, cut down on some of those interactions between folks and handing things off like that. So we're encouraging you, if you feel comfortable. I know some of you have used this at your institution. There's polling software, free software as well, in things like Poll Everywhere or Slido or Mentimeter. If you feel encouraged to do so, this is an option for you. We're not requiring anyone to do this, but if you feel comfortable doing so, feel free to utilize that to kind of gain from your audience while you're there on site. Just do caution that we've all used hotel Wi-Fi, I'm sure, before, and some of it can be great and sometimes it can be spotty. So I wouldn't rely on that for your session if that's something that you're trying to do to rely on for that engagement. So we're also going to be offering index cards in each of the rooms so that folks can write down questions and funnel those through the moderator. And the moderator will come and kind of collect those from the audience and can read through those questions as they come in as well. We do also request that everyone provides their contact information on any slides, or if you have handouts or anything during your session, just another way that attendees can follow up with you after the fact. And as we upload these to the conference app, we're also going to be uploading those to Core. So folks may, down the line as they're reviewing your slides, may reach out with questions as well. One other way we could encourage you to engage with folks, again, an optional thing for you is through social media. We have our hashtag up there, UPCEA 2022. Feel free to use that if you want to, encourage your friends and colleagues before the event to engage with you about your session. Some folks have also asked about using specific hashtags. So if you wanted to add some sort of specific hashtag related to your session, that you encourage your session attendees to also, include your handle, your Twitter handle or social media on your slides as well, that they reach out to you through those platforms as another way to kind of keep that conversation going. Feel free to use those as well. And I'm going to pass it off now to my colleague Molly, who can talk more about our mobile app experience.
Thank you, Jordan. Hi, everyone. So for anyone who's attended one of our on-site conferences in the past, you're probably familiar with our conference app via guidebook that we use for on-site events. And so in the in-session engagement world, we have some options through the app that you can use as well. So of course, the app, once it's live, is still going to have the nice schedule capabilities and session slides and all those things that you're used to, but we did want to draw your attention to a couple of other pieces, one of which is what we call session discussion feature. And so that would be when people are in, if they go into your session in the schedule, they can actually post comments or questions during the session. So if you want to take advantage of that, we just encourage, of course, that you would go in the same way as any other attendee into your session and just kind of monitor that area during your session. There's another feature that is new, I think, for us using this year, which we're excited about, which is Guidebook calls it Connect and Chat. We may change the name slightly in the app itself when we launch, but not too much. And so that actually allows you to make connections like on a social network and chat with other attendees directly through the app. Previously, we would have kind of a list of other attendees that you could just kind of see who else was attending the conference, but the Connect and Chat actually lets you send and receive invitations to connect. It is as with all these networks, it is kind of a dual opt-in that you can't start sending messages to people until you would send them an invite and then they accept or vice versa. So please keep that in mind. But that may be another way that after your session, people may wish to continue the conversation with you. So of course, we encourage you to download the app when it's available and just keep your eye out on those sections there. And I will pass it over to Joe unless Jordan or Amy have anything else they want to add about the app. Great.
Thank you, Molly. Just a few reminders before moving on. Registration is required for all presenters. So if anyone has not registered yet, whether you be presenting at the summit or the annual conference, please do so before March 14th. And there are links in the agenda for that. As well, we want to remind you that if you do need a hotel room for the conference, the availability is extremely limited now. We have a room block at the Coronado Springs Resort, as well as an overflow hotel, which is the All-Star Music Resort. But we have a link in the agenda that will get you the reservation link for the hotel for our block. And then I put a note in there, if you do encounter any issues with making a reservation, to just please email me and I can see if I can assist you with that. And then also a reminder, slides, presentation slides, if you will have them, are due March 25th. And we've included slide templates for both the summit and the annual conference in the agenda. And if you actually click back to the second bullet, overview of protocols, Amy has put for different protocols for concurrent sessions, research roundtables, network spotlights that will detail how session slides should be labeled, where they should be sent, and a timeline for all of that. So does anyone have any specific questions regarding any of those topics? Great. Well, if not, I will turn this over to Amy again.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, everyone. We've just got a few last minute notes before we open it up to presenting specific questions. These resources, as well as recording, will be posted soon to the web, and those beautiful know before you go emails could never be more prescient than they will be this cycle. So I heartily encourage you to not ignore these that will be coming out in the week or so before the conference. Not that you do that. But also, as things change and as we get a better handle of what things are going to be happening on site in the landscape, we'll be updating the For Presenters page as best as possible. So I encourage you to check back frequently, but we'll also communicate to all the presenters. If we find massive changes to what we've just shared with you, we'll be updating you. So I appreciate your flexibility in this very fluid timeframe. As I mentioned, Sharon asked a very wise question, because the guidebook is probably going to be one of the best ways for us to be connecting in, as Jordan called it, the new normal. We're going to try to launch the guidebook app a little bit before we normally would, to allow folks an opportunity to connect with each other and utilize some of these new features. And so you'll see that coming up as well. Lastly, if you have more nuanced questions specifically, Susanna, we will not be able to host remote co-presenting, but I'm happy to chat with you offline about the kinds of things that you're hoping to entail. It might be that there is a video that you embed from someone who can't be in the room, but I invite you to reach out to me directly. Any questions, either things that we need to know, team from UPCEA that we haven't mentioned, or questions from our attendees? If you have a hand raised and I'm not seeing it, it's because there are so many of you and I'm not ignoring you.
One other thing I didn't note, but should, you all probably know CORE, our member community. Folks have used that before in the past. If you're looking for kind of ideas or input from some of our members to help inform some of your sessions, that's a good place to go to if you'd like to kind of gain some insight on topics you might be discussing.
Fabulous. Anything else, my friends? Fantastic. Well, with that, I will call us adjourned. Thanks so much for your time and attention today. I hope this has been hopefully one of the more efficient and least difficult conversations of your day. We aim to please. Do let us know if you have questions offline. I'm seeing a couple things pinged to my inbox, so please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. We're learning as we go. This is the first time back for many of us. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm feeling a little rusty. So let me know how we can help you, and we'll get through this together, as they say. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.